Hello, Bill Molyneux here for Bill's Wargame World. Well, everyone, we're going to finish off um, flocking these British infantry for the Anglo-Zulu War. And I had a couple people write that I haven't done one of the just chit-chat sessions while flocking. So we're going to talk about some wargaming stuff I have coming up, what I have planned for the next few months, while I flock these British soldiers for maybe the next 20 minutes. I would like to make a small pitch for my Horns of the Buffalo game through Blue Panther Printing. Um, this game contains 12 scenarios of the Anglo-Zulu War. And what's nice is you can easily use the scenario book for miniatures. So um, we are going to get our camera in position and we're just going to chit chat. And I'm going to tell you what's coming up. If you're bored, flip to another channel. If not, we'll talk about 54mm wargaming. So we are going to start flocking figures and get the camera in a better angle for everyone. And that looks about right. So we're going to finish up these British troops and get them flocked. And the reason is these are going to be going to a school teacher friend of mine, not real close friend, more of a wargaming acquaintance. He's a teacher. I haven't done a school project in a long time. He had some issues with a little bighorn game with some school students. So since that time, we've stopped doing that. A few of these 54mm figures, Claude Bailey of the Facebook group, No Stress Miniature Wargaming, and the Facebook group we have. That site is sort of geared for everything and anything. More, if you have figures that aren't painted the best or even just spray painted, they're welcome there. And if you don't even do that, or the super high quality painted figures that many people do. So when I get these all flocked, I'm going to get them boxed up, and I'm going to go over what I'm going to be doing the next month or so as we just watch me flock figures. So George in New Jersey, I know you sometimes like these videos because you'll work on your figures and listen to me chit chat, just like I'm in your wargaming basement with you. So this is what I got planned. Start off with, I asked Josh, the 3D Printer King, to produce me some 54mm World War II French infantry and a couple tanks, an anti-tank gun rifle, and I also asked for a machine gun team. Reason is we have some early war German armor from Ron Perlman, the Pretzel Snyder King, and also famous for being in Ted Turner movies. So I want to get some early war French to fight those early war vehicles along with my British. Now, so that's one thing I got going on. And the next thing we're doing is this Thursday night, I plan on doing a small war game on the table here. And I'm going to surprise everyone and do a small battle and then post it Thursday night on the little 7x6 table here in 54mm, of course. There we go. So as I flock our bases. Now Friday, I'm doing yard work for the wife here in Baltimore and other chores. But then Saturday, Kevin, Colonel Hanson himself, and I are going to Fort Frederick to make historical videos of the French Indian War reenactment. Oh, and I ask again, please watch my history channel, Bill's History World. I'm trying to raise money this month for the CSS News in Kinston, North Carolina, to help with their school. They have a homeschool program where homeschoolers come there a couple times a week and help with their things that they need for the homeschoolers. So by just watching this video channel, you're helping something. Every month I pick something different. And of course, uh, after this donation, at the end of the month, everything I raise from there on out is going to go to the HMGS Mo guy for Toys for Tots. So if you're not doing an advertisement video for that with Toys for Tots, who can tell me who that is? Come on. That's sort of funny. We got a Frederick Sheese figure with his bad foot and all. Trying not to get the flocking material around his bandages or sore foot. As you all know, or if you watch many of my videos, I'm not a good painter because I don't have good painting skills, but I also have screwed up eyes. And so Jim Shaw does an awful lot of my painting. Now we are at the blocks. And if I had thought about it, I should have flocked the individual figures first. And then, but it is what it is. And life is too short to get too worried about having things perfect. And I know that having things look good is important, but sometimes I just like to get things on the table. So we'll plug along. So Saturday, Kevin and I are going to the Fort Frederick, Big Pool, Maryland French Indian War event. And that's Saturday. And we'll make a lot of cool videos and talk to a lot of the historians and reenactors. And then our plan is on Sunday is the Gettysburg Toy Soldier Show. And I'm going to go make a video of the Toy Soldier Show. And that should be very cool. Yeah, last I knew, I was being allowed early to make the video with special access because of Goober the Traveling Bear. You got to laugh about that. So as we continue our flocking, so that's our pretty busy weekend. Living in Baltimore, it's an hour and a half or so to get to Gettysburg and a little bit more to get to Big Pool to Fort Frederick. Now, following a week, we're going to be Labor Day weekend. We will be at our Virginia home. I hope to make several good videos there. And then September 21st, I'll be back at Fort Frederick for the Civilian Conservation Corps program. And that should be pretty cool. And if it wasn't for the Civilian Conservation Corps, many of our battlefield parks and stuff would not exist. So we really need to say thank you to the Conservation Corps. Of course, most of the people that were in the Conservation Corps passed away in the 1930s. So, and they were in their 20s at that time. Now you'll see I have a figure I didn't glue on, but I'll get one of these over here. So that's our September 21st weekend. September 28th, well, that is the Hawks barrage event. It's a Friday and Saturday 2-day event. And That's going to be my mini Fort William Henry game. Due to size and table space, I only can do a 10-foot table. So we'll be doing a smaller version of Fort William Henry rather than the large version. And then at fall in, I'll do the large version. So in October, we will be doing more chucklehead things, and I believe we're doing a massive 28 millimeter September 14th, maybe, I think it is, of the chucklehead basement at Walt's house. And that's going to be a massive game in 28 millimeter. I think it's Antietam with thousands of 28 millimeter figures. And you know how Walt has just incredible armies. So that's going to be the plan for September. Is totally filled up. In fact, I don't even know if I'm going to make it to the house in Virginia very much at all for September. But I have to because I have to mow the lawn. I haven't found anyone really to mow the lawn yet. One neighbor is really nice. All my neighbors are very nice. I should make sure I say that. But one neighbor actually said if I couldn't make it down, he let him know and he would zap my lawn for me. Now, this past weekend, I had to replace the deck. A lot of bad boards. Some were good, some were bad. So I didn't get to make the videos I had planned on making. But hopefully it wasn't that big of a deal. But I was just had to do home life stuff. And, my wife and I are doing our best. She's been feeling much better since the last operation. So we're thinking we're out of the woods and she's back to work. And I think we're heading in the right direction for her health. So, and these British soldiers are a call to arms and a few Conti. And I don't know why, but the Anglo-Zulu War is very popular with a lot of war gamers in America. And it is an interesting thing of how the Zulu Empire, it's really a shame how Great Britain just colonized so many countries in that way. And but boy, when it came to the Zulus, they put up a pretty darn good fight for over 6 months with inferior weapons, but they did have incredible tactics. So the horns of the buffalo. Now, it's quite amazing how the Zulus did quite well for quite a while in the Anglo-Zulu War. I think the British totally underestimated them. And then, of course, Great Britain had issues with just a few years later with the First Boer War, and of course the Second Boer War. So South Africa almost became like Queen Victoria or Great Britain's Vietnam world in comparison to America in that way. And I know a lot of people also talk about the Anglo-Zulu War in the same time period as the Plains Wars and Custer's Last Stand, since it's relatively the same time period. Once you flock these guys, they sure do look better, don't they? I know Derek's really big on flocking. I didn't flock a lot of my figures that were going to school groups because they were worried at this one school that the flocking material would cause allergies or something. So, but the old month of September, and then we have October, I've left totally empty right now because we have to get ready for Fall In. That's right. And Fall In is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be at the old Lancaster Host, aka the Wyndham. And, no site is perfect, but I got to say, I do like the Wyndham a lot, the host. Um, so looking forward to that game. Um, Kevin of the Chuckleheads said he's going to help me run it, and because it's going to be a big table, so that's a good thing. And I'm not sure what room we're going to be in. They're putting some of the mega games in a separate room, and I'm not sure who all will be in there, but they're tables that are bigger than 20 feet or 20 feet and up or something, is what Rusty Miller was telling me. And oh, just flocking away. And then after I get these guys done, I'm going to be boxing them up, and this I'm also going to be tidying up Fort William Henry off the table and do a Thursday night video war game. So something small. It'll be a surprise, and locking endless figures here. So in your comments, how many of you all out there have a Zulu War army? I know Roxanne Patton has an incredible Zulu army, and Frank Prez. Off the top of my head, there was a time there seemed like there was a lot more colonial war games at the conventions. And this last Historicon, there was more Anglo-Zulu war games running than normal, I thought. I think there was a half a dozen Isan Luanas and Orcs Drifts. It was really nice to see. Um, so many great games and game masters. The GM's working hard um, to produce these games, and so I see in the Fall In thing they're not letting people register for a ton of games, which I think is a great thing, because I believe an awful lot of people would register for games more than they could actually really play between shopping and food. So there was times people had more tickets than they would actually show up at, and so I think that's a great change in that way. So uh, you don't have games totally wiped out, but then not enough people show up. And I know that happened for several game masters where they were sold out, but um, able to get as many tickets as you wanted within the time frame. So I think that was a good change, getting back to the 2 per day, and then you can get another one later. And flocking forever. So I got to say thank you to all of you that are watching this and watching my channel, because I'm almost at 4,000 subscribers, which is amazing, since I'm nothing like any of the other YouTube channels. I mean, I'm using 54 millimeter figures. They're not always, most complicated rules or rule sets that people use, and then I do have the Chuckleheads who uh, are much more mainstream, and I get 1,000 views with a Chucklehead game. But I appreciate all of you that watch, and I need to say I'm starting to get to the point I can't answer everyone anymore. When you leave comments, it's getting to the point that I can't always answer. I have the two channels, Bill's Wargame World and Bill's History World. And between the two, it's getting to the point that I just can't always get to them both. So um, as far as leaving comments and questions, and unlike many of the other YouTube wargame channels, there's quite often other people helping with the accounts and such, especially like Little Wars TV, and so I'm just doing the best I can. An old chubby guy with a passion to help with history, help some historic sites, and keep history alive. It's really sad, but in a way, we're not really learning about history in schools like we used to, because of history is considered boring by many, and it's just not the same. It's like amusement parks. Amusement parks are swamped, and then you go to the historic site that's near an amusement park, and they can barely keep their doors open sometimes. If it wasn't for all the wonderful volunteers that help at history places, um, there's a young woman who is in Gettysburg, a famous author, and Miss Lisa, and I know her fairly well, and she's a fan of Goober the Traveling Bear, and she volunteers at the Gettysburg um, Battlefield and Beyond Museum and the seminary. And if it wasn't for people like that to help volunteer at many of these sites, they would not necessarily always be open at the same amount of hours. So now I'm hoping that if you're listening to this, you're going to buy a Goober 2025 calendar when they go on sale pretty soon. The proceeds are going to the Maryland Veterans Group, and we made a video of Connie, one of the curators or ambassadors there, and I really like to sell one more calendar than last year. And we raised $562 last year, and we delivered it to the Braddock's Battlefield History Center. So this year, I'd like to equal that or get one more calendar worth of sales if possible. So I'm going to ask everyone consider that. If you need a calendar, in another few weeks, it'll be up on my Blue Panther Bill Molyneux Wargame site, and we can help a small museum that has a Gatling gun and a lot of other cool stuff in it. Oh, and just like right now, if you're still watching this channel, you're making money for me to give away to a historic site. So Jack Brendel in Tucson, Arizona is probably watching in the library, and because it's cooler there in his, but he is so Jack is he built an Isan Luana in 20 or 15 millimeter, and he said he'd consider selling it, but it's huge. Even at 15, 20 millimeter, it's still big. And a wonderful, wonderful Isan Luana, but he's in Arizona, so shipping it would probably be quite the expensive chore. So probably wouldn't be the cheapest thing to ship somewhere. But if you are interested in a very well made Isan Luana, and I do have pictures of it, I believe, that I could post. But I know just shipping a few model boats to Claude Bailey was very expensive, and he's in Arizona also. It was cheaper to buy the boats for him and there and ship them there. Something about crossing the Mississippi, I guess. So we're coming along on our Brits, and I'm going to box up the Fort William Henry stuff, get that ready for the conventions. I'm going to do what Walt does, box everything up, run the same game, multiple conventions. So I'll both be at the Hawks Barrage and Fallen, and I won't have to do a lot of repacking or anything. So amazing how this flocking helps, isn't it? It truly is. But so I got some really neat early war armor from Ron, the Pretzel Snyder King, and the plan is to do some French and British early war bolt action adjusted for 54 millimeter games. I'm just going to use four commands per side, so it'll be like 2 infantry squads and a machine gun team and 1 tank or something. And try to do some small battles at the house during the fall winter, and hopefully that will generate some views to keep my donation money going. It's not always easy to figure out what will get viewed a lot. Norm at the Toy Soldier Gallery in Ligonier, that video is not quite 3 months old, and somehow in the last few weeks it went viral, and today it should break 30,000 views. Now what's sad is I made a video of my donation plan for the Maryland Veterans Museum, and I don't even think it's got 40 views. So a lot of it has to do with the title and the algorithms. But I'm hoping that Norm at Fort Ligonier gets some business, just like I helped Mr. John at the Gettysburg Miniature Shop. And then Norm will get, and Norm's also going to start carrying my games. He put an order in. He's going to carry the French and Indian War games for his shop, since he's right down the street from Fort Ligonier. I mean, literally right there. So, within walking distance. That's how close he is. Well, we have another, I don't know, 10 boards to go of British. And this little room really needs to get finished cleaning. 2 months ago, I did the massive overhaul, and I want to get the walls decorated, some better shelving put in. I just don't get everything done, but I'm always trying to keep moving. And I know several people will write to me and say, I have such and such figures I bought 2 conventions ago, and you motivated me to get off the couch and work on them. So that's that always makes me feel better that someone's watching, and maybe I've helped someone, I don't know, get off the couch and work on some figures. You know, it's always been a big joke of how much unpainted stuff or non-built things you have in the miniature wargaming world. And then, you know, in the board wargaming world, there's a lot of people that have board war games that they have purchased and yet played too. So both hobbies, board wargaming and miniatures, have these issues of buying more than you can use at the time. But quite often, you always will make some time to pop open a game or get those figures primed and painted sooner or later. So as I continue on the endless process of getting this paint on these bases, and I really needed to flock the individual figures before I glued them down, but I just was in a hurry, sort of forgot about it, and just started zapping them down on the bases without flocking them. So we've gone through quite a bit. We talked about September, October, November to fall in. You know, going to do some little games, got some chucklehead games, and then we'll be at December and some more vacation time. So I really, really appreciate everyone that watches, and I highly doubt there's really anyone still watching at this point of just me babbling. But if you are, I want to just say thank you. And there's a fellow, Ronald McDonald is his handle, or whatever you call it, his YouTube name. And he's a very nice fella. He's always leaving nice comments. He's in England. And I'm amazed of how many Australian and New Zealand wargamers follow the channel. That's always sort of neat. That I'm thinking of trying to put together a Donald Featherstone video. The man named Boris, I forgot his last name, he's in Canada, and he actually owns all of Donald Featherstone's metal figures and most of his manuscripts, which is quite amazing. So, but I was thinking of making a video of still shots of Donald wargaming, and there's not a lot of video of him out there because he passed away before the YouTube world really got rolling, and also the cameras, the video camera ability. So there's not a lot of video of him. There's a lot of still pictures, and there's also some wargamers that knew him quite well, including let's see, I think there's several wargamers in the Gentleman's War website and Facebook site and rule books, and that knew him really well. Now, I'm going to finish off this last batch. I'm going to say thank you for watching. Please continue watching. I'm going to look at picking up Fort William Henry here, boxing that up, and getting ready for the convention. So I'm going to say stay safe, be kind, be courteous, and I got a half a dozen bases left to go. Thank you again. Here's a little add-on, everyone. I got them done. And you know what? I think Thursday's game won't be a surprise because I think we're going to do a scenario from my Horns of the Buffalo game. We'll do one of the small scenarios in 54 millimeter. So that's about it. Stay safe, be kind, be courteous, and I got them done.